Yo, what is good, my Quick Crypto family and my Coin Factory family? Back once more with another daily Casper and crypto live stream, and we have once more some very big news to cover in today's stream. The sources we're going to be covering in today's stream are quite diverse, quite broad, but as the title states, we do have seemingly another Binance leak for a Casper spot listing once again. This source though was brought to all of our attentions about a week back. If you've been watching my streams for a while back now, you would have seen that Andy, shout out to Andy A, he mentioned to me, and we showcased it in this stream, that Binance seemingly had put on CoinMarketCap that you can buy Casper, which is a very big deal. Obviously, I cannot see that, as you can see from my CoinMarketCap here, and it is to my assumption, which I think is logical and can be proven, is due to regions, because I'm based in the United Kingdom and Binance is not available in the UK. I do not have this option to buy it. But we'll get into all of the big news regarding Casper in this stream, also covering market sentiment, the FOMC meeting summary and whatnot, and ultimately the market outlook and we can see it going from here. But as always, if you enjoy these streams, these daily live streams, leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. Mr. Miles, first time in a while. Welcome back, man. I'm doing very, very well. I have finally won the internet. Yes, you have. Nova Scotia. I've said it right this time. I learned. Free Mr. Miles. No taxation without representation. You know it. If you enjoy this stream, for Mr. Miles to be free, leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. What's up, my man? Welcome back to the stream. Hope you're on a very, very good day. Let's go, Casper Army. You know it. DC. Yo, what is good? Quick crypto friends. You know it. We're all here. Things are looking very, very good right now for Casper. Casper now surpassed the 2 bill markup again, which is very optimistic. I'm hoping we can break above and go towards 10 cents again, but of course, time will tell. We'll get into all of that though in today's stream. What's up, my man? Again, yo to you too, and Johnny Tucker Outdoors. You heart Casper. I absolutely love Casper. I am very thankful that we are all here in Casper, but also in crypto as a whole. The space is in for a massive turnaround, I believe, in the coming months and years to follow, and we are early. We are here before the institutions, and we can take pride in that, knowing that majority of the population of the world still have no idea what crypto is right now. They don't trust it. They don't even know what it is. We are ahead of the game. So, with that being said, welcome back everyone to today's stream. Hope you all had a very, very good day today. We can see right now the markets are looking very, very green. Now, reason for why, we can speculate. I don't think the FOMC meeting had a part to play in this. Maybe it did, because there was it was basically a nothing burger, but there were some announcements that could be deemed as potentially hawkish, or potentially quite bullish even. But I would like to put it out there. I think the reason why crypto is doing so well right now is actually because of XRP. It sounds crazy to think that, but unless you've been living under a rock, you would have heard that earlier today, the SEC officially announced that they are dropping the Ripple XRP lawsuit, which, whether you like XRP or not, it is a very, very big deal, because XRP and Ripple, they were at the front line against the SEC under the old administration, the ones that were, trying to scrutinize and suppress this industry. So with their lawsuit finally coming to an end, that is effectively a sign to the masses that crypto is now fully accepted in America and therefore likely worldwide as well. You may not like XRP, that's perfectly fine, but this is a big deal for the whole industry, and I believe it's the reason why everything's doing very, very well right now. You can see Bitcoin right now 85.7k, although if I'm being perfectly honest, not financial advice of course, unless we see Bitcoin surpass the level up here around 96k give or take, I'm still not expecting any massive breakouts just yet. Of course, a lot more information and coverage in the markets are provided in my weekly live streams, courtesy of our experienced traders like C Crypto in there, which I know Tony and Joking have heard of them firsthand as well and listened to the experience that they provide there, and so far it's been very scarily accurate. I guess what you do when you know what you're talking about. So if you want to know more about that, again, you've got to go check out the CF Executive What page here. You could join for a 7-day free trial, links down below in the description. But ultimately right now, I think the markets are still playing a little bit of a pump and dump scheme. I would not be surprised to see Bitcoin start to come back from here, start to retrace from here. But again, time will tell. XRP, of course, following the confirmation that the lawsuit's been dropped, has done very, very well today. XRP in total pumped about 15%, about 13%, currently up about just short of 10% on the daily time frame. And then we've got Casper, of course. Casper right now is currently once more trying to test this level of resistance here, which you can see happened on 3 occasions recently already. Here and equally happening again here, and even back here as well, around 8.1 cents seems to be a strong level of resistance for Kaspa. If the downwards trend, the downwards wedge, is a fairly accurate element of TA, if you will, then I could suspect that Kaspa will try to probably get either rejected here, or it will try to break above this, which might be a sign for it to push towards the 9 cent level of resistance. But with the current market sentiment, if I am being perfectly honest, again, not financial advice, I am suspecting some pullbacks in the immediate short of the crypto and Kaspa. Will it come back down to 5 cents? Time will tell. I personally don't think it will, unless we see Bitcoin correct heavily down to the 70. But if you see Bitcoin correct below 75k, then potentially we see Kaspa correct below 5 cents. Otherwise, it's tough to say right now. We're still very much in a Bitcoin dominant market. So of course, what Bitcoin does, the markets tend to follow. So Kaspa, of course, is no different in that regard. But with that being said, we'll get into some of the Kaspa news, then go to some macro news, then back to Kaspa. You know the deal, covering all the recent updates in today's video. So without further ado, to get off with the actual headline of today's stream, Binance leak Kaspa again. Shout out to Andy Yaya again, my man, who leaked this to me, and I'm going to get the exact timestamp up so I can give him his props. He told me about it on the 13th, so that is actually 6 days ago from now. So 6 days ago, Andy messaged me, DM'd me on Discord and said, have you seen this? Which, of course, again, you cannot see it on my CoinMarketCap, but it does show up. It is a thing, and it's being showcased here right now as well, which is ultimately very, very good to see. So we can see here from the post, the platform CoinMarketCap, which is owned by Binance.com, just added the Buy Kaspa button on the Kaspa page. This button is usually added to coins spot listed on Binance, but of course Kaspa right now is not spot listed on Binance, it's only for perpetual trading and mining. So not spot just yet, but of course now big X accounts have just noticed and posting about Kaspa lately. Of course, you got to think about the coincidences, right? You got the fact that Binance have already made multiple posts seemingly leaking at Kaspa, from the Crescendo post to the blockchain trilemma post to block time over clock time. And now you've got the fact they added wallets to Kaspa, the Binance Web3 wallet here, and also the Trust wallet, both being Binance wallets. And now in the top right, if you're in the correct region, because of course, again, Binance where I'm at is not available, which is why I don't have the Buy Kaspa button up here as well, like you can see it here. But you can see Buy Kaspa is up here. So once more, this is Binance's website, CoinMarketCap, and they're showcasing right now that you can buy Kaspa as a shortcut through CoinMarketCap, which is a very big deal. And considering you're seeing a lot of big name accounts from BSCN to BSC Gems to many, many more. I mean, I haven't refreshed them right now, but I saw them scrolling through my feed earlier today. Also got this out right now, which is quite interesting. I might get into that a little bit later on as well. But we're seeing ultimately many more big accounts also posting about Kaspa. It's likely that they are being shilled by the likes of Binance and other major exchanges to talk and start promoting Kaspa in preparation for a listing. As for me, obviously we know Kaspa right now is not available for spot listing on Binance. It's not there yet. But we also believe that it's only a matter of time. We know Kaspa has been integrated with Binance since November 2023, 2 Christmases ago, a very long time ago now. So it's only a matter of time. What I believe they're waiting for is all the big developments coming through from Kaspa, and also the market reversal as well, which again, we'll get into all of the significance of that and therefore potentially predict what we may see a Binance listing throughout this stream. But yes, rumors of course now of a potential Binance listing for Kaspa on spot trading are gaining momentum after CoinMarketCap added the Buy Kaspa button to Kaspa's page. This feature is typically seen on cryptocurrencies already tradable on Binance, although spot trading isn't launched yet. The addition serves as another strong indication that it could be coming very, very soon. This is ultimately very, very big news, and as a result, we're seeing a lot of momentum again build for Kaspa. Currently on Kraken exchange, it's showing right now layer 1 category up 6.37%, with Ethereum up 7, Solana up 7.2, Cardano up 6.2, and of course Kaspa up 9.2. So Kaspa, which is understandable. Again, Kaspa is a smaller in terms of market cap project. Therefore, it could see more volatility, but either way, Kaspa right now is currently one of the higher volumes for layer 1 projects right now. And I think it's going to go much, much higher very, very quickly following all of their major developments. Also, before I get into some of those posts as well, got here from Christian Ludwig, which is very interesting to note. Again, we spoke about it briefly in my stream yesterday. The M2 supply. Ultimately, right now, we can see from the images, the M2 supply right now is going up further and further, which is a good indicator of more liquidity, more capital into the markets. And Kaspa, this line was drawn out of the expected trajectory of Kaspa, where it's going to go. And we can see the post he posts after this is the updates as such over the coming times. And we can see right now that Kaspa is seemingly starting to get close to trying to follow this trend, whilst the M2 is still staying within the predicted zone. So ultimately, if this comes to fruition, we'll see Kaspa start to rally following the M2 supply as well, which means we start to see it rally above its all-time highs. If this element of TA, these green lines drawn out are accurate, we should expect to see it rally above all-time highs just before we reach May, which I wouldn't think is... Again, this is not financial advice, it's just speculation from this point, but I wouldn't say it's that illogical to believe as such, purely because of the fact that around end of April, early May, you're going to see 10 block per second onto the mainnet. You'll likely see the testnets and, dare I even say, the mainnets releases for ZK EVMs following 10 bps as well. We know already from Johnny that we're going to suspect to see the likes of Tether and other stablecoins likely on Kaspa by May, with the opcodes which are necessary for from Kaspa's opcodes, which are necessary for stablecoins coming out around that time. So in and around May, end of April to early May time seems to be a very, very pivotal time for Kaspa as a whole. So M2 supply, of course, is following that as well. Looks very, very good all in all. Now, again, some of the posts again updates for Kaspa in just a moment, but this is ultimately very good to see. And again, an indication that Binance is only a matter of time, not a matter of if, a matter of when. What's up, Crypto Ghost, my man? Welcome back to the stream. Hope you have a very, very good day. You too, Brett. Evening to you too. What's up, John? Again, another great day. Glad to have you back, my man. Meeting today, bullish or bearish? I ain't watching it. Depends how you view it. I ultimately perceived it as a nothing burger, so I guess it's kind of bearish. But there's stuff to, dissect from it that could be deemed as optimistic. So we'll get into that in just a moment, so don't worry about it. Need to punch out that bearish structure. We do. And I think, if I'm being perfectly honest again, I think we'll see some more bearish markets or, chop sideways markets and boring markets for the next, couple of weeks or so, maybe going into Q2. And then we'll hopefully start seeing some form of reversals of such going into mid Q2, maybe early Q3. We'll have to wait and see though. Again, love XRP, hate XRP, perfectly reasonable explanation, reaction. I know a lot of people who do like XRP, a lot who hate XRP, and I understand both arguments for such. I hold XRP, I've mentioned that numerous times. I've also mentioned my reasons why, and just purely because their adoption is so significant that, I think they're going to be pumped quite high as a result from institutions. But, be that as it may, XRP, I don't trust them. I don't. But again, Tom, I do think this market structure, this pump today, is probably a result of XRP because their lawsuit was the biggest one. Out of the whole crypto industry, they are the ones who are out on the front lines alongside Coinbase, but they were, the further developed case. And not just they won under when Gary Gensler was trying to attack them. Now, the case got dismissed. It didn't get settled. It didn't settle the case, which would have been, of course, settling the case actually back when Gary Gensler was the head of the SEC would have been a very, very good thing. If they settled for $125 million, would have been a very, very good thing. But now, with the new SEC who have dismissed every single case prior, if Ripple the only case to settle, that actually would end up being quite a negative thing because it would have mean that they're also accepting that their sales of XRP, that they wouldn't be able to sell XRP to institutions anymore due to the injunction applied by Judge Torres. So actually, them getting it also dismissed is a very good sign. They beat Gary Gensler and they also just deemed that it was just, removed in its entirety, which is good to see for XRP and potentially even one of the markets that are doing very well today as well. Right and tight and all that, yes, in due time. Interesting meeting today. Yeah, the meeting was relatively interesting. Again, it seemed somewhat of a nothing burger, but I think it did leave some form of room for some positive thinking. And you know what? Actually, before we get into some more Kaspa news, we'll also get into some of the FOMC meeting and macro news quickly as well to ultimately talk about what's happening today in the market. So we can see, of course, from Kobe Issy letter here, breaking: the Fed makes multiple revisions to their 2025 economic data projections, cuts 2025 GDP growth projection from 2.1% to 1.7%, which is not good. Ultimately, this is highlighting that they suspect we're going to see a slower economy. So a slower GDP growth is kind of worrying, but this is not recession numbers. And for me, the only way we don't see this market take off latter half of this year is if we get confirmation of a recession or potentially World War III. and I don't think both are on the cards. While both are seemingly looming, as they always are, I would like to believe again that neither are going to come to fruition. So therefore, even though seeing the growth slow down by 0.4%, which is kind of worrying, I don't think it's the end of the world. Also talks about the raises in unemployment forecast from 4.3 to 4.4%, raise in PCE inflation forecast from 2.5 to 2.7, and raise core PCE inflation forecast from 2.5 to 2.8. So ultimately, the Fed is seeing higher inflation and a weaker economy, which is not very optimistic at all. And it's quite funny as well. I'm not going to play the video out here because I'm sure those who've been watching, just markets for a long time would have already known about this, but a clip from 11 months ago. So this is talking back in February of 2024, before we saw Bitcoin ETFs, or around the time we saw Bitcoin ETFs approved. John Powell said they were asked about stagflation, and he said that he's not seeing the stag or the flation. Yet what we're seeing right now is a prime example of stagflation, where we're seeing inflation still going up bit by bit. Inflation is not really doing drastic growth, or it's not really coming down, it's not really going up massively, it's kind of just stagnating while the unemployment is getting worse and worse. As we just seen here, the economy is getting weaker, but the inflation is just kind of leveling and not really doing much. So it's kind of the economy is stagnating, which is not very good to see. The Fed raised both unemployment and inflation forecasts for 2025 while cutting GDP growth estimates. This is a prime example of stagflation. But ultimately, the Federal Reserve, to get into what's actually covered in the meeting in a bit more structured format here, the Federal Reserve leaves rates unchanged for now, which will slow rate, but they're also going to slow the rate of QT, which is quantitative tightening, from April. So ultimately, the meeting, from what I saw, was effectively a nothing burger. There are no rate cuts. They did announce that we're going to be seeing 2 rate cuts happen this year, and they also announced the end to quantitative tightening. So which means that you won't be seeing them take as much money out of the system, all of which we already suspected. So it seems a nothing burger because we already predicted that such. The Fed also doesn't think we're going to see a recession just yet, which is what I said as well. I don't think we're going to see it just yet. At least I think the Fed will bail us out if we do get that close. And Jerome Powell also announced, in regards to the markets, which I do agree with very much so right now, is the markets are very headline driven. You see the announcements of tariffs, you see the announcements of developments from war, whatever Trump's doing in the headlines, that ultimately right now has affected the markets. The markets very much are right now headline driven. And Jerome Powell said he doesn't actually know, also he doesn't think and doesn't know how much of this quote unquote headline driven news will actually translate to economic data going forward, how much of it will actually matter going forward. Like the tariffs are deemed as very, very bearish news, but that may end up having little to no effect on the markets by the end of the year, when the markets, and you see the QE come through, quantitative easing, and you see rate cuts come through, and all that stuff as well. Although in saying that, again, I want to reiterate, as much as rate cuts and QE would be very, very good, remember once more, in Trump's first term back in 2017, one of the most bullish cycles for Bitcoin and crypto, we saw 0 rate cuts and we saw 0 QE. So in that regard, we don't actually need to see these factors. Of course, seeing them would be good, a clear sign to, economists and traders alike that we're going to see more money pumped into these on-risk asset markets, but we don't need them. We didn't need them back when Trump was first in power. We shouldn't need them now. But of course, I believe we will get them. And as such, that's why, despite the current stagnation of these markets, how boring it is, I'm still very bullish on the outlook for the markets, for crypto, for Bitcoin, and of course for Kaspa as well. So yeah, the end of the QT, quantitative tightening, even Jerome Powell says here, the inflation right now is raising partially due to Trump's tariffs. Again, I do think there's an element of truth to this, but at the same time, I don't think it's clear cut. I mean, he said it himself, it's partially due to that. I don't think it's clear cut as that. I think it's also just partly due to the current economy and where it's at. But of course, he did announce that we're seeing the end of QT, which I think is good. Again, we're seeing more money to start entering these financial markets slowly but surely. So again, I feel like in a kind of general sense, it's kind of a nothing burger, this FOMC meeting, but it does leave us optimistic for going into April, when we're going to see the end of QT, which means we're going to start seeing, and it's not a conclusive end, by the way. It's actually just a slowing down. When I made my notes, it was I think It's not a conclusive end. It's a slowing down. So the QT Treasury run was slowed from $25 billion to $5 billion. So it's a significant pullback. That it's not completely stopped, but the tightening has been reduced massively, which means you'll see hopefully more of that capital be able to flood into these markets, and hopefully we'll start to see the beginning of QE in due time as well. But also, what's very bullish to note as well is apparently there's going to be a big announcement regarding Trump's plans for the next steps in crypto policies in the coming which is coming out imminently out of the Blockworks DAS, according to Cap Daily here. We're going to be seeing it coming out next major update later today, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I may be asleep by then, I don't know. I haven't checked exactly what time it is going to be happening. But ultimately having a nothing burger of FOMC meeting followed by this post, this also could be a correlating factor to why the markets are pumping today. Because again, as Jerome Powell highlighted, these markets are very much headline driven, and they are. These markets right now are very headline driven. So hearing Trump's going to make a major update and announcement on Bitcoin and crypto strategy later today is why the markets are now in anticipation, hoping it's not a nothing burger, because the FOMC meeting was a nothing burger, So that's currently the kind of summary, I guess, of the FOMC meeting. And, while the markets right now still look relatively boring, if you will, I still think boring is okay. Boring is best. This is the time that I'm using to DCA, dollar cost average, and just keep, sliding into my assets of choice. And long-term outlook of crypto still looks very, very good. Again, the XRP lawsuit coming to an end. You should start seeing XRP ETFs coming through very soon. Solana's first ETFs are going to be launching in the United States tomorrow as well, which is also bullish to see. The adoption is going to be coming quicker and quicker. And Kaspa, I think, is going to very much jump on that ride if the economy and markets start to reverse and start to rally up again. I don't think we're going to have, dare I say, confirmation of a bull run or a bullish leg up until we see Bitcoin surpass. I'd like to say this zone here is a very strong level. I think if we surpass 92k, it'd be a very good indicator, but this for me is almost like a bottom level of support here. I think we had to probably pass 96k here. We see a lot more volume around here. If we surpass 96k quite confidently, I think then there'll be an indication of another bullish leg up, and that might be the time therefore we start seeing this come to fruition. You see Binance actually list Kaspa following all their incoming major updates, which I'll get into again in a moment. I think Binance are gearing up. It's quite evidently that Binance are gearing up for Kaspa. What's taking them so long, we can speculate till death do us pass, but I believe it's just market sentiment right now, and with what's coming up for Kaspa, it's going to be a very, very big deal. And that's going to, and seemingly what they're releasing right now, the biggest argument I kept hearing time and time again when Kaspa was correcting, everyone got bearish on Kaspa's price action, was Kaspa's going to come down and it's not going to be able to catch the markets because the market's going to top in Q2 and Kaspa's developments coming out in Q3, Q4, which is too late. The exact opposite's happening right now. The markets are currently coming down in Q1. There's a chance we start seeing it rally in Q2, but right now, sentiment seems to suggest we're going to see it start peaking Q3, maybe even on Q4. And Kaspa's big developments are actually coming out in Q2, not even Q3. 10 BPS coming out in Q2. Smart contracts seemingly coming out in Q2. Stablecoins coming out in Q2. So it's likely Kaspa have all its major developments that will start generating adoption just in time for the market when it starts to reverse and starts to see its bullish leg up. You'll see big tier 1 listings following that as well. OKX. We did see that leak of a post they made, which went out potentially too early. There's a leak to that post now. Binance again have been leaking it for a millennia now about listing Kaspa. So the big tier 1 listings will help bring some initial volume on, some initial, FOMO for the Kaspa's price very quickly. And then you'll see it rally further on with all the big accounts that are seemingly being shielded to list Kaspa or shielded to talk about Kaspa, and of course Kaspa developments as well. And there's Andy A again, the man who first leaked this information to me about a week ago. Got 10 more caps a day. Big up to my man. Keep buying that bag. Looking very, very good. Gold hit new awesome high today as well, I think. I have not checked that out, to be honest, but I can have a quick look actually. Go to, which is it? Futures? Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, actually gold did hit new all-time highs. So that also, gold going to all-time highs is just another indication that the economy right now is slowing down and the trust in fiat is dwindling more and more. So investments right now are being put more towards commodities. Gold being, of course, gold originally was the, actual currency used. The dollar originally was backed by gold until it became petrodollar. So, of course, we're seeing money more and more put into gold right now, which is a bullish indicator that people are now looking towards investments as opposed to holding fiat. And that could be another good indicator for where crypto is going to go very soon as well, especially because Bitcoin, technically speaking, is meant to be, the digital gold, right? What the Binance leak? It's what you showed me, Mandier. It's what you showed me last week. Something that we've already known for about a week ago. That's okay. That's also the benefit of our community here. The daily lives we do here every single day, and equally the community we have here, you can join for free, where we talk about crypto and Kaspa, and we're all actively just going around looking for information. And you can have a whole space, you can just learn it all there for free. And information there we just share with each other. And ultimately you can see this information about this Binance stuff is still good to see, but if you've been watching my stream from last week, you would have seen me talk about it with Andy as well, how we did see this already. So it's not necessarily news to us, but of course it's now already just started circulating through the Kaspa ecosystem. So we actually got ahead of the game, which is quite good to see. Big up to the Quick Crypto family and the Coin Factory family, we got ahead of the game. And for me, I think this is partly being blown out of proportion, if I'm being honest. Again, for me, Binance listing Kaspa is going to happen no matter what. So I'm not worried about the exact details of when. This for me was, as highlighted again, this is not available for me because I'm based in the UK. So depending on your region, if Binance is available or not, it's not there. If you have a VPN, I'm sure it would show up. I know it shows up for Andy and many, many more have showcased proof of this is not fake. But either way, it is. It much as it can be deemed as a nothing burger, but equally it could be deemed as quite optimistic, which I think is, you can view it as both, right? I'm ultimately in the mindset of the Binance news. I'm kind of numb to it until I see Binance actually post about Kaspa, but at the same time, the leaks are coming back more and more and more. The connection to Binance and Kaspa is so telling that it seems like it's inevitable they're going to list it very soon, but ultimately I don't think it will matter until the markets are properly recovering for Kaspa, which again right now we're currently up almost 5%, which is good to see. Currently valued at 8.17 cents, but again, we are still struggling to break through this level of resistance right here. We need to see it break cleanly above that right now. And hopefully see it rally towards the next level being 9 cents around here. And then 10 cents. 10 cents for me is the key level of support we need to regain. And that would be a good indicator potentially for Binance as well, because we speculate that this wallet here, number 2 now, is Binance's wallet. It makes the most sense. We've seen a lot of deep dive information from Kaspa report, talking about how this wallet is likely number 2, this Binance wallet likely number 2 here. And we did a bit of deep dive again, shout out to Andy, which showcased that the average buying price, the average price they've been buying Kaspa at from this wallet, I think is around 12 cents. At least it was 12.1, but they've bought some more since then. And tomorrow being Thursday, they're likely going to buy more Kaspa tomorrow as well. So if that's the case, therefore, if we get close to 12 cents, then it could be a sign that this wallet will finally start being positive in Kaspa in the holdings, and therefore they might think, okay, now's a good time to list it. Especially if the market's going to be in a good position. Again, we have to wait and see. I'm so worried we won't go up. I mean, I understand the sentiment wing, I really, really do, but I'm personally not worried at all. I'm really, really not. I have no doubt in my mind that crypto is going to go crazy in the, of course, not financial advice, it's just my belief, but my belief is I have no doubt we will go up with crypto. Right now, we've got a $2.82 trillion market cap for crypto, and we have understanding right now that all these massive institutions from JP Morgan to Wells Fargo to UBS to Merrill Lynch to Goldman Sachs to many, many more massive hedge funds who want access to crypto. They haven't got access just yet. They're still waiting for policies and regulations that are going to come through very, very soon. And with that, they've got trillions of dollars of asset. They're not going to put all their capital into crypto, but if they allocate just 2%, 5% of their portfolios into Bitcoin, just Bitcoin alone, we saw, figures stating from these people who are in the insider circle saying there's $70 trillion worth of wealth wanted to come in. So 5% of that portfolio is $3.5 trillion. You're going to see potentially a $6 to $7 trillion market cap for the whole crypto market, which means you'll see likely Bitcoin reach around 150 to 200k. It might go higher. People are still saying 250k Bitcoin. I'm again more conservative about that because I don't want to be too moon boy about it. But it's definitely possible. But with that being said, if we go up that high, with what Kaspa's bringing out, I think Kaspa's going to do very, very well following that as well. Because currently, again, it's seemingly following the M2 supply as well, which again is a good thing to see. We know Kaspa 10 BPS again is not far off. We're seeing here the dark mode visualizer, which again is just showing exactly how the 10 BPS tends to work, how it looks like multiple blocks being converted at the exact same time. It looks quite messy, but that's just what 10 BPS is. It's extremely fast. It's very, very good to see for Kaspa. And it can, of course, go up to more than 10 blocks per second at confirmation time at one point. The crescendo is rising. Unprecedented speed, security, and scalability and decentralization is coming in about 5 to 6 weeks from now. We also had confirmation yesterday in some somewhat negative news, and we did speak about it briefly yesterday as well, about how Casper EVM had decided to terminate their project due to a lack of financial support, which I made the point of, it's unfortunate to see. Hopefully they come back. But, the point being made here from Alex, which I think is completely fair, and another side of things is, is quite, he doesn't know how to feel about it. It's kind of disappointing because, not other investors have come forward to fund the project, so we had to decide to wind it down. I know, I can be candid, so here it goes. If it was me, I was a dev, keen, hungry, and building the greatest tech in crypto, I'd try to fund it myself, or at least have a few ready investors. And I think there's a fair point to be made there as well. To me, it's simple. You're building on Casper and betting on the future of Casper. So that's my 2 cents. And again, that's what I'm doing right now. We're all here effectively in the same position right now. We're, sweating, if you will. I mean, some of us probably are sweating at the price of Casper coming down so far as it has done. But at the same time, we are taking, ultimately it's a gamble. While I think it's not financial, while I think it's, the risk to reward is quite low. It's a gamble at the end of the day. But the gamble is that Casper's going to do amazing things coming through in this space, transform this space for the better, and therefore its price is going to likely rally with it as well. So it's about taking that leap of faith, if you will, and arguably Casper EVM could have done more. But again, that's up for debate, it's up in the air. What they're building right now, coming through very soon, 10PS, is going to be huge, and equally, they're going to shape this space for the current dominating infrastructure layers. So Ethereum, for example, right now went from proof of work to proof of stake. They adopted layer 2 operators to let them scale more, and even then they're terrible. Ethereum L2s are a cash grab. As already confirmed, I made a video on this yesterday talking about the kind of summary of smart contracts and whatnot, which covered about a segment of an interview with Casper Door, where he highlighted that these L2 operators, they actually just take majority of the fees from the L1, so actually they're making most of the money anyways. The Ethereum L2s are stealing billions from layer 1s for pretending to, quote, scale Ethereum. And again, we've seen how slow Ethereum is already. It's expensive as well, gas fees. So the scaling is non-existent in my belief. Nobody talks about this, how Base collected $110 million in fees. Only 10 million of them went back to Ethereum, which is insane. Layer 2s decided transaction order, keeping 90% of the money Ethereum's layer 1s. It's just a storage layer now, sequencing controlled by private layer 2s, but Casplex, the ZK EVM, the layer 1.5 smart contracts coming out, that fixes this. Because all the money will go back to Casper's layer 1. And all the gas fees are done with Casper, or wrapped Casper. It's done with Casper though. It's not done with whatever the other assets that are being allocated by layer 2s. So it also makes it more fair for the chain, bringing more demand and adoption and money and liquidity back to the actual infrastructure layer, which will help with more demand for Casper as well, and it go up in price as well. We've got many infrastructures coming built with that. This is Igra Labs building their own layer 2 ZK EVM, and Zeller Swaps are planning to build a DEX on Igra Labs, and they've also just partnership with Nacho, the leading KR20 token as well, the meme token, which is good to see. Get ready for next level staking experiences. They're going to be bringing staking with your Nacho Cat NFTs, unlock swap fee discounts, and much more as well, which is great to see. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this in due time as well. And it's not just chaos. It's not just KF and Casplex though. You've got a lot more as well. You also got the likes of the KII. Gigawatt stablecoin, of course, is one of many projects coming up for the KII as well right now. From you got Warp Core, you got Asset Mint. You've got the ZETEX, the Zero Emission Trading Exchange, Olive Chain, much more. This post made out from Casper Sats again. Please Sats, shout out my man. There was a little thread made by this as well where, I understand it, but I also semi-disagree with it as well, which is kind of the point Casper Sats made here as well. I think this one is all hot air. KI has yet to deliver anything just yet. Bit unfair, as they can't build anything officially until we have opcodes. We've already heard them confirm that, and opcodes again are not that far off anymore. We've got the Casplex announcing that they'll be releasing opcodes in May. Casper themselves, I'm sure, will be releasing them very soon as well. It's more a case of putting the cart before the horse. All their initiatives are just hype at this stage, which is fair, it is true. As of right now, KF is where all the juicy bits are. They're walking the talk, Casper. The KF funded stuff isn't released yet either. Same situation until we see the layer 2s on mainnet. It's all just talk too. It's not by any means trying to discredit the KF and Casplex and whatnot. It's ultimately just trying to say you're putting down the KI, but they're waiting for the opcode to come out before they can actually release their project, which is for institutional clients. KF is not the same initiative. It's doing stuff more so for the retail element for Kaspa itself. And they've got KRC20, granted, but they're still very early on. They haven't got anything properly released just yet. And you've got the KI response to this as well, just saying we're actually busy building on multiple fronts, but very little will actually be open to retail. For us, it's about volume. When you are working with energy/utilities, these are mission critical, so have to be held on a much higher standard in terms of security and quantity. So the positive and negative about it, from what I'm gathering from this, is that, KI is working on a lot of things right now, but because they work with institutions that require more security and all that sort of stuff, there will be a lot more hush from them, NDA, so to speak, which, that's just how the industries tend to work. But I'm sure they will release enough of such that we can still tell they're not doing anything illicit, because the last thing you want to see is, someone taking advantage of Kaspa, because that will definitely bring more FUD to the project. Right now, the KI, I've got a lot of big things coming through. They've already announced they're talking to the SEC Crypto Task Force and other agencies and institutions talking about Kaspa and projects coming to Kaspa. So again, only a matter of time. We'll see them come out later on this year, probably Q2, maybe Q3, and now we're likely to see more institutional adoption coming to Kaspa, which will help much more in its growing demand in the space where all the money coming through now is institutional money. We're at 100k Bitcoin or 85k Bitcoin right now because of institutional adoption with ETFs and whatnot. I want to be a Bitcoin pizza guy, but the tacos and Kaspa. You're just waffling again. I'd be happy to sell you tacos for Kaspa. Okay. Kaspa structure, a massive fall in compression, if it could be an explosive breakout. I mean, yeah, again, if you're looking at Kaspa right now, it does seem to be, this downwards wedge seems to be going down quite a lot. Should it break above this resistance here, it could be an indicator for a massive breakout. Again, TA aside, I think what's coming out for the markets, short term, could be a bit bearish, but long term, I think looks very, very good. Going into April, going into May, and all of Kaspa's big developments come around that time as well. And I'm sure you'll see Binance equally list around that time as well. They're already leaking more and more. Now posting on CoinMarketCap is equally another addition to the whole catalogue of leaks we already have. Again, you can find all the leaks to this sort of stuff in my free community here. We'll be talking about crypto and Kaspa every single day, finding sources and whatnot. And you can literally just go into the community, type in Binance in the top right, and you can see every single time Binance was mentioned, every single source that came up as well. And this is going to be another one that's been put in later on as well. Proof that, again, Binance, who owns CoinMarketCap, are closer and closer to listing Kaspa. It'll happen in due time. But of course, if you want to learn even more, because again, this sort of information here is good to see. And my sentiments, while I explain them on stream, my conviction is a lot more stronger than people probably realise because of the research that I do in my community here, to the executives here, which I know Tony and Joking are very, very well aware of, and also Zizu. So if you want to know more about this sort of stuff here, you can join for free, 7-day free trial. We do institutional research documents. We provide a lot of alpha information from massive institutional corporations like Deloitte, KPMG, World Economic Forum, and what they predict and what they suspect is going to happen, what they're telling their institutional clients to start looking into and invest into. We provide that in this community here. We do the research into this as well, which is not easy to find, but I've been quite fortunate so far to be able to find them. I've done a lot of research into that. We provide trading alerts right now as well, thanks to traders who onboarded like chart flows and also see crypto at times as well. And yeah, ultimately it's a lot more fun in here as well, which will be coming back in more full. So if you want to find more about this, again, 7-day free trial, link to join down in the description below on my YouTube homepage right here, and also in the chat as well. What's up, Greg, my man? Welcome back to the stream. Hope you're doing very, very well. Let's go to the moon. In due time, Hong, I'm sure we will. Bitcoin dominance dropping today. Yes, it's dropping a little bit today, but it's still very, very strong. Until we see Bitcoin dominance properly drop below the trend, the trend line of this here, I am not expecting anything significant to the altcoin rallying just yet. It's a trend line I drew out a while back, and I still think we're following it to a quite respectively. Because when we saw Bitcoin drop below here, we saw alts go quite well, and then November, December time. So we see Bitcoin drop below this trend line. I'm not expecting to see anything major just yet, but it is down, so it's a good sign that alts are starting to rally as well. I don't have any money to buy the dips. You're in the same position as many other people, Hong, my man, I'm telling you now. That's partly why I work like 2 or 3 or 4 jobs, just so I can try and get some extra capital. Working as hard as I can right now to hopefully have some dry. Right now I have no dry powder. I wait for my next paycheck. Once I do, I'll be DCing more into Kaspa, no doubt. I think Binance are going to list they were building up the hype, but then the orange, then Trump killed the market with the tariff foolishness. Yeah, I mean, again, it's not a bad speculation. I do believe that there was a chance that the markets were looking up. We might have seen a listing from Binance, but then of course the tariffs came out and the FUD started brewing, and that caused, understandably, a halt in any sort of those developments. It's frustrating, but at the same time, I'm not too worried. For me, again, it's a matter of time. When it happens, we'll either see because of how long the base has been for Kaspa, how long it's been so far down in value from its all-time high, and even down here, I think the rally will be quite significant. I would not be surprised to see Kaspa quickly jump from where it's at right now to, at least up to here from Binance listing, so a 2x quite quickly, and then start to continue making momentum from there. Not financial advice, of course, though, again. At first, from that buy Kaspa button, there was CoinEx and Binance, but shortly after CoinEx disappeared from there. I mean, yeah, it's also interesting to see. I remember you showing that to me as well. You sent me a screenshot of that where you saw CoinEx and Binance on there. CoinEx, of course, are in a very weird predicament of Kaspa because CoinEx had that whole situation where they actually, Kaspa went down to 0.5% all the way down here following that massive crash with Bybit. And you thought, everyone's shorting Kaspa, everyone's just shorting cryptos in general. CoinEx, of course, went down too heavily, and in fact, they lost so much that they had to cancel their perpetual trading, their futures contracts on Kaspa, because they couldn't afford to do it anymore. Because all their balance sheet, all their allocation just disappeared because people bought Kaspa at the bottom down here, and of course you did. I mean, look at the gains you made. It's insane. More questions here. We got who is printing M2s? I think M2 is just a sign of the kind of money in the economy. I think the M2 is just kind of sign of the kind of money in the economy right now. Yeah, it's measured by the money supply. That includes cash, checking deposits, savings, and is much more. The US Fed, the Federal Reserve, are primarily what's responsible for the M2 supply, but it's just kind of the general money in the economy right now. More questions. Let's get into more questions real quick. Don't be logical, be emotional. Yeah, you know it, Johnny. You really do. That's the ultimate saying in this community. Don't be emotional, be logical. We know what's coming to this space. It's only a matter of time. Just at the time for the markets are down right now, the only thing you can do is, again, don't be emotional, be logical, and just keep researching. Build your knowledge right now to understand the next plays, what's coming through. I've stayed true to Kaspa the whole time because I still think Kaspa is the next big play. I have mentioned it for quite some time, but due to my personal life getting a bit hectic, I've had to take a bit of a back seat. But I'm planning to expand this channel in general soon to start looking at other projects as well, that while my conviction in them won't be as high as Kaspa's, I still think there'll be good projects to look into potentially hedging your bets. I'm talking like Ondu, I'm talking like Hedera H-Bar, and much more. You have got to trust them. I'm not saying to invest in them, of course. I'm not a financial advisor, do your own research, but there are other opportunities in the space. Equally, I like my gaming tokens as well. I see this will be another late runner later on as well. I mean, not saying that it will do, but if Vulcan Force came back to all-time high, which is around just short of 50 cents, or where it's at right now, that's an absolutely insane run. Of course, that's that's theoretically speaking. Let's see if it comes to fruition or not. Hashrate could be temporarily affected currently due to their hosting facility going through a power outage, soon to pop back up, I'm sure. Well, thank you very much, because actually one of the other posts we had here against Stefan, you can see here, one of the posts here highlights that Kaspa price drops, Hashrate sees steady decline, what's going on? Kaspa price has been under pressure recently, breaking the support of 10 cents down to about 7 cents now. Ultimately now seeing a decline from the Hashrate, sitting comfortably and peaking around 1.4, 1.5 EH, and now it's come down to 1.19, if you can see here, EH, not PH, unfortunately. And people are speculating what's happening right now. Stephen King just highlighted there's apparently an power outage that went on. That's why we saw it, drop even further. Now we see down to 1.1 EH. My other reason why you could see the current pullback in Hashrate is also due to the fact that we had confirmation from Iceland already earlier, and I'm sure many others as well. They're planning to release new miners coming up for Kaspa, so maybe they're making that transition right now, that switch, in preparation for 10 BPS as well. We know the miner's going to be released around April time, so we've still got about a month until then. But yeah, that's why the hash rate coming down. Either way, the hash rate, I'm sure, will come back again. We're seeing a lot of fluctuation in the hash rate recently. Since November, it's been going constantly stagnating, down, up, like very, very weird. But I'm sure with 10 BPS coming out, 10 BPS, I believe we'll see an increase in hash rate because, it'll basically allow more blocks to be released simultaneously. Therefore, you can have more. You won't get more money per se, but you get more opportunities to mine the blocks and get the transaction within them. So you may see a rise in hash rate as miners potentially able to make a bit more frequent income as opposed to, less likely, if you will. But again, we'll have to wait and see about that. What's up, Kryptonian man? Hope you're doing very, very well. I'm here, brother. I'm just at work, so I can't jump and chat too often. Listening through. Good to hear you very much, my man. Good to see that you're here still whilst you're working. Keep that grind up, my brother. Hope you're having a very good day, Kryp. I hear the UK is banning Bitcoin and creating a CBDC for y'all. Is that true? I have not heard that myself, but I know the UK have a very weird stance on crypto. It's just similarly to the whole Europe as well. They have a very weird stance on crypto. They're kind of accepting it reluctantly, but they still want to have complete control over it right now. So they're trying to, we know that Europe are creating CBDCs, which I think no matter what, even in America, in due time you'll see CBDCs. CBDCs I think are unavoidable. They're going to come through in due time worldwide. I think that's one of the things that I do praise Trump for, which is the fact that he halted them, because I don't like CBDCs. I think the idea of them is actually just very, very, it's just another way to just, again, keep control over you from governments as well. So I hate the idea of it. So I praise Trump for stopping them. But I think they're going to come through in due time. And that's also why I think, another reason why I hold XRP. Because XRP, their whole system seems to be very well in tuned and kind of built for CBDCs. So, again, I'm not trusting them at all. But if they have got deep, deep connections and, whispering to the institutions and governments and stuff like that, they're going to get more favour, as opposed to Kaspa right now, who is fighting against the system. But I think what they're building is going to be so significant enough, and their interoperability, that it'll be able to fight against the system and prove itself as a dominant asset in this space. Again, when 99% of cryptos die out, Kaspa will be one that survives, in my belief. The economy is strong and inflation is within range. Yeah, the economy right now is just he said the economy is strong, inflation is within range. I kind of agree, but the economy is weakening. The economy is quite evidently weakening right now. We can see it slowing down. So that's also an indication we should hopefully see some rate cuts coming through. And again, that's why I announced 2 rate cuts coming later on this year. Good afternoon, Obi-Wan. Hope you're doing very, very well, my man. Welcome back. You just call him Jerome Paul. Jerome Powell. I don't know how to pronounce the name properly. I apologise. I think it's Jerome Powell. Essentially, he said that all inflation is essentially attributed to economic uncertainty and preemptive price hikes. Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately headline news. People are reading the headlines, they're making assumptions on that and just driving the market as a result of it. And, there's an element of truth to that. And also he's blaming the tariffs as well, which again, I think there's an element of truth to that as well. Papa Powell is an official name. It's an official name. Oh, is it? It's Papa Powell. Okay, well, good to see. Binance can go screw themselves. I don't care if they list it today and turn into Kaspa Maxis. I'm so done with them. I mean, again, my sentiment is relatively similar. Ultimately, I'm kind of just numb to the Binance FOMO. I talk about it, of course, as I always will do, because it's important to cover this sort of news. But the Binance, updates for me, I'm kind of numb to, because again, until they actually list it, it's noise. I know they're going to list it in due time, but it's just noise right now. What's up, my man? Welcome back to the stream. Yo to you too. Holy cow, I'm getting so many ads on this stream. I haven't input any ads myself, my man. I don't control the ads. Like I have not touched them at all, I can promise you that much. What's up, Beaver man? Hope you're doing very, very well. Welcome back to the stream. Having a great day. I counted how many times Powell said the word tariffs. It was 14 times. Yeah, well, he's not a very big fan of Trump, so he's going to try and I'm not saying I blame him for that, or like I'm not saying it's understandable or not. I'm just saying he's very much, I think the tariffs definitely put a hinder into his plan for the Fed and how they're going to manage the economy. So now he's got to do a lot more drastic measures to try and fix it. But quickly, because I lost track of what I was talking about earlier. You mentioned the hash rate here about how why it's coming down right now, thanks to Stefan, about what's happening right now. But I'm trying to think else also that's interesting to note here is this post here from a weird 2-hour guy. Also talking about how, Kaspa economic models, is that a fatal flaw or just misunderstood here? In a recent Chinese post, claims Kaspa's emission schedule is hurting miners and stalling adoption. Is the model broken, or are they missing the bigger picture? The whole breakdown here about what's happening right now. I'll be linking this in my community as well, because I want to go into too much detail about it. The TLDR, which shout out to the man for making a TLDR about this, because I do like when they do that. It just highlights once more that Kaspa is in the early stages of its adoption. Unlike Bitcoin, where miners rely heavily on block rewards, Kaspa is designed for long-term sustainability. Kaspa has block rewards. You get 62 Kaspa, I think, right now per block. But in due time, that'll be nothing. But Kaspa's focusing on long-term sustainability, where you can just make money through transactions, stuff like that. So, you know, as adoption grows, DeFi, stablecoins, and high TPS will generate fees, gradually replacing reliance on emissions and starting to focus on just the economy in itself. So, arguably, yes, it's probably hurting it short term, but long term outlook, you know, again, I think they're missing the bigger picture, the miners right now, who are claiming that. I know not everyone claims that. Not everyone claims that the emissions are hurting the miners and the project, but I think those who are maybe missing the bigger picture about what Kaspa's trying to actually bring to the space, which is going to come through in more fruition with TBPS, stablecoin, smart contracts, Dagnite, and so on and so forth. This is the time to accumulate. I very much agree with that much. Yeah, right now, definitely time to accumulate. We're seeing a lot coming out for Kaspa, a lot coming out for crypto as well. We're seeing more developments as well, like this here with Kaspa.com, how you can now get an immediate loadout on your mint. So we get to see the quality of life. Things are very good to see as well. So it ultimately, once more, just a good sign of, you know, this sort of adoption coming through to the space. You know, the development's coming through, and it's just a great thing to see all in all. A gamble is a guess, an investment is an educated decision. I invested Kaspa. You know what? I like that. I do. A gamble is a guess, an investment is an educated decision. If you're going to a casino and you're card counting, is it gambling or is it an educated guess? I mean, of course, there are arguments to be made about that. Ultimately, the whole of investment in and of itself can be deemed as a gamble. But at the same time, you know, if you've done your research, which all of us here should have done a lot of research into Kaspa, we believe what we hold. While it's still a gamble, it's an educated decision at the same time. My decision in Kaspa, I think, is backed by a lot of information. That's why I'm still bullish on the project, as everyone else here as well. That's what all gamblers say. Pretty much, yeah, you're not wrong there. Despite the bad price, I'm weirdly chill on Kaspa, optimistic and not overly concerned. I mean, yeah, I don't say the time to panic right now. No, I don't think time is to panic right now at all. More downside in the short term, potentially, sure, but I wouldn't say time to panic at all. And I agree with you very much, DC, as well. Despite the market sentiment right now and how bad the price is going right now, I'm equally very zen, very chill about crypto and Kaspa. My conviction has not wavered at all, and that's because of the information that I provide in here. The stuff we do here every single week, well, we do it consistently, but the information provided in here, and equally the weekly live streams we do here as well, provides us an insight on the markets from institutional sentiment, and that's why my conviction is not wavered at all. Why I'm still very, very bullish. So I'm not worried about that at all. I'm still up nearly 600% on Kaspa. Wow. I mean, I'm definitely not, but that's huge, Kryptonia. And I'm jealous, to say the least. Still took a buy on 2020. I agree. I very much agree. Lots of great tech in the past goes by the wayside. Consumers always are lousy pickers for good products. I mean, true, yes, there are definitely some good products that do just miss the hype, if you will, because they're not catching it properly. But that's the benefit of Kaspa. Kaspa is building great tech, but also is building interoperable tech, so it can actually connect to the other chains. It's creating everything that has a virtual machine. Solana, Wasm, Ethereum. You know, if it has a virtual machine, Kaspa will be able to connect to it. You have people can build on top of Kaspa through it. So Kaspa is doing the correct thing in that regard as well, while still, you know, building against the whole agenda seemingly right now of centralization, which I think it should be doing, decentralization, and therefore it could arguably miss, because it's building interoperable infrastructure, it'd be able to connect everything else. So I think it'll catch on. Remember when we all thought Q1 25 was going to be epic? Yeah, I do. Binance never all fake news. Again, up for debate. I disagree personally, but we'll have to wait and see. Halfway through last year, I thought Kaspa was going to be at $1 in 2024. Yeah, we all had a very high hope for Kaspa early on. Definitely not planned out that way, and it's hard to see, but doesn't mean we can't see a massive run-up following that later on in the cycle with all the big developments. You know, again, look at other projects in this space that have done something similar. Solana, for example. AVAX, for example. Similarly, AVAX being probably the best one to choose, actually, that had a relatively quiet market last cycle. You know, did its whole nice run-up here, and then went quiet until August, and then made a massive run-up in August, market cap-wise, from 2 bill, which is near to where Kaspa is right now, to 25 bill. So you saw a 10x from here. So again, it is possible, I think. And then Solana, in that regard, Solana equally is not a very old. Solana's also like a 5-year-old project, it's not very old either. And similarly, it also went from 10 bill down here to then a massive rally up And it's both of these two projects doing that in just a span of 3 months. So similar, you can see when the bull one probably takes off and altcoins start to rally as well, Casper goes through another similarly very sharp and volatile price rally like we saw here in a short time frame. Hold to next cycle. I mean, I plan to do that as well, but we also, take it to profit this cycle as well, because I do see some benefits of doing so anyway from DCAing back into it, and I think we'll still make some big gains this cycle either way personally. The more alt season is delayed, the greater the pumps. Yeah, that's also very true in my belief. That again, the altcoins will pump. It's a matter of time for me. I've learned what I think will happen never happens, or the opposite. Yeah, I mean, it does be like that sometimes. The markets are very, very tricky. But that's, again, the whole point. If it was easy to judge the markets, we'd all be billionaires, Ultimately, all we could do is keep researching more and more, learning more about the space, about crypto, about Casper, and then, allocating our portfolios accordingly. That's all it is to it. And I mean, that's me. I'm down on crypto. I'm down in some of my assets. I'm ultimately up in the cycle, actually, surprisingly, because I made very good gains in actually the meme coin trading, surprisingly enough, earlier on. Around, when was it? I think it was around September time. Around when the whole Casper was correcting here. I think I made some good gains around here in meme coins. So actually I'm up for the cycle so far. But right now, in a lot of my spot holdings, I'm actually down. But at the same time, I've sized out some of them. I've shuffled the portfolio around. I've de-risked some of them. But ultimately, I'm still holding a lot of them. Casper, I've not moved a dime out of because I see the reversal being a very big one. There wasn't enough of the project completed to bring in the adoption. AI agents will be on Casper or Caspav with smart contracts, and they'll go crazy. I mean, AI agents I know will be huge. And they come to Casper, Casper get the adoption, and that will equally be a major adopter for Casper, I believe, as well. Tariffs hurt for the now, but if you're living in the United States, you should be thrilled that jobs are coming back. It will take time to rebuild what our country lost due to our outsourcing, but it will be worth it. Short-term pain for long-term prosperity. Wise words there, Mr. Miles. Wow, you're not trolling me today. Damn, what is this? But no, you're completely right there. Jokes aside, you're completely right. Yeah, again, I think we can see some more, pain short-term in the markets, in general, the economy right now. But I think we'll see in due time the alleviated of the pressure. We're seeing China start to print money as well, and that starts to flow back into the markets, and we'll see a massive, prosperity, if you will, going forward as well. I'd thought the Fed stopped printing money in excess since Trump. The Fed will always keep printing money. If there's problems in the economy, the Fed will bail us out. That's typically what they do. They started doing that. That's what I found out again. I learnt more so about from Plan K through his series about how the Fed started cutting rate cuts when they couldn't cut rate cuts anymore. They started doing QE and printing money to prevent a recession. So if they think we're getting into a really dire situation, they'll start printing money. And we're seemingly on that tightrope right now. JP Morgan mentioned tariffs 14 times. John Paul, so JP Morgan 14 times. He feel like he's saying, "Don't pressure me to cut rates. Your tariffs are causing the problem." Yeah, again, Trump wants to cut rates. John Paul said, "I'm not doing it," and now he's implemented tariffs, and he's causing uncertainty by issuing them and then removing them, and all this sort of stuff. So, yeah, I think he's trying to force his hand, but at the same time, I think he's going to get his way. Trump, personally. He didn't send that signal. He even said that the reverse of much of the tariff inflation is temporary as the market adjusts. I mean, again, I do think that Jerome Powell is a bit frustrated with the tariffs. He did indicate them as a possibility and the reason why the markets are, inflation is I think why the markets are uncertain right now. But I think, again, it's just short-term pain for long-term prosperity, as Mr. Miles said. I don't get why we need rate cuts for people to take on crypto. Shouldn't people get into crypto since it's the future? Got a great point there, Hong, and you really, really do. And you're right, but the problem is people don't view it that way. Because of what's happened recently, people now deem rate cuts as a necessity. Again, to remind people, in the 2017 Bitcoin cycle, we didn't have rate cuts. When Trump's first term, this one here, we didn't have rate cut, didn't have QE, we just had good markets. The difference is now the economy is a lot worse than it was back here. But we don't need rate cuts exactly. No, we don't. And the thing is about crypto being the future, us in this space, we understand that. But we are still a very small minority of the whole world population right now. Not a lot of people know crypto. You're actually in the minority right now, Wing Hong, about crypto being the future. All of us here understand that, especially more so of Casper. But, we're not the masses right now. Institutions only just start to adopt crypto, and they're still early doors. They haven't even got regulations enforced just yet, no frameworks just yet. When it comes through properly, you'll then start seeing a massive rally. If the UK bans Bitcoin, will you move to the United States? The moment I have enough capital, I'm getting out of this country for sure. I'll probably go to maybe US, probably more so Asia, if I'm honest. I kind of like the idea of going to Asia for a bit. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't particularly like the UK. I don't. Which is not to say none of you should come here. I mean, if you want to come here and visit the country, go for it. I'm not going to say no, but I've lived it all my life. I've travelled, every now and then I go on holiday and whatnot, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly. And I come back here and I'm depressed. I mean, I'm sure you would be regardless, but I went to Japan last year, for example, in May, and it was one of the best holidays of my life, and I wish I went longer. And if it wasn't a bull one right now, I'd go again right now. But unfortunately, there's a lot more news to cover. Much as I can actually, when I do go again, because I will go again, I can bet anything I'll be doing my daily live streams by then. I might even have face cam by then. Who knows? Maybe by then, but I'll be definitely live streaming in Japan as well, still keeping up with the daily content on crypto. Maybe we'll be in a bear market by then, bull market, who knows? But I can't afford right now to take any significant time off while the markets are, while boring right now, still in a, building up to something big happening. Right now is the time that I've got to lock in as well. Again, that's why I'm researching more and more. That's why I have my community here, which again, it's early doors right now. We're still trying to figure out the kinks and whatnot. But so far, the feedback we've got from there, from Tony in particular, has been, very positive about the weekly live streams, what we provide in there, the information and whatnot, the trades and everything else there. And we're going to put a lot more there as the markets mature more as well. So if you want to get in early, know more about it, join for free again. You can look at, we've got, I think, 8 of the, executive roundtables in there, the insider information roundtables, and they've got 8 that have been re-uploaded. So if you want to watch them, have, 8 hours worth of content just to kind of go through all the content there, and even the sources in there. You can go on for free. Check it out down below, description, homepage, and then you'll hopefully develop as much conviction as we all have in there about where the market's going to be going from here on as well. We'll welcome you with open arms. Yeah, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Trump needs Fed to cut rates so he can turn on the money printers. The US is reserve treasury, dusting off the second wallet and blowing the moss off it. I mean, to an extent, yeah. Trump doesn't control the money printer, the Fed does, but yeah, if Trump does get his way and forces it, then he could see the money start printing as well. Okay, how many more questions do we have? Okay, because I think that's going to be it for today's. I think that's. Oh yeah, I think that's actually it for all today's content. Actually, today, something awkward. Do you know about Project Warp Core? Is that a question to me? If it is to me, then yes, I do know of it. Warp Core is right here. Warp Core is effectively the initiative that's, the project being created by the KRI, the middleware of the truly global institutional grade financial system. Ultimately, it's meant to be the thing that could replace XRP and what they're doing in the financial system as well with Kaspa after 2022 adoption. So, Warp Core is a very, very big one, probably their biggest project, arguably. So, I'm looking forward to Warp Core when it comes to fruition, when they get the, ZK opcodes or opcodes launched on Kaspa. You'll see Warp Core come out very soon, I'm sure. I think it's already ready, actually. Kaspa price is supposed to be higher. But the exchanges broke the power law through manipulation. I mean, right now the power law is not technically broken, but it is definitely below where it should be. Currently it's down 74%. But it will definitely come back, sure. The manipulation is happening right now, it happens in general. But we'll be the ones we'll be the last ones to laugh when we hold us strong to our conviction and the price starts to rally again. All the paper had to be shaken out now. Just learned about it, looks crazy promising. Yeah, no, it looks absolutely insane. I think there's information about it, an article about it in my free community again. So you can learn, on top of the massive alpha information you can learn in the WAP page, you also have a community where you can just learn stuff for free in here as well. Got stuff about Warp Core in there as well, you want to check that out. Links down below. Shout out Plan K, I told him that he's overdue for a new upload. Yeah, in due time, I'm sure. Shout out Plan K is a very, very, very good content creator, especially for Kaspa as well. His insights are very in-depth. I haven't had the time to watch any more of the stuff today, unfortunately, because I just had a massive issue earlier today, which I only just managed to resolve before streaming. But I plan to watch them going to bed tonight and also tomorrow morning. Check out Portugal for 0% on crypto. Oh, maybe I have to go to Portugal then. I don't want that tax. Damn straight, yeah. WAP, not to be confused with... Oh, God, Mr. Miles is back to trolling again. Really? You need to go to Thailand. I do plan to visit Thailand at one point. I really, really do. I mean, I plan to go backpacking through Asia at one point, truly. I plan to go and visit China. I've visited Japan. I'll go to Japan again happily. Maybe Korea, Thailand, Philippines. You know, I plan to go all around. I'm going to use AI to make QC sing the WAP song. Wow. Okay. Well, with that being said, to end on such a lovely message there, I'm going to be it for today's daily Casper and crypto live stream. If you enjoyed, as always, leave a like, share your friends, subscribe for more. A lot of big things are coming out. Again, we've got some more Binance leaks. It's a matter of time. When, we cannot confirm. Watch this wallet here, number 2. Tune in for tomorrow's stream. We'll likely be seeing this wallet again, scooping up some more Casper. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, markets are looking a bit worse for wear. Might see some more choppy sideways actually in the short term, but long term, I think we've got a lot of big things coming through. Casper again can have some very, very big rallies, I believe, as well. But of course, not financial advice. If you enjoy, again, leave a like. Share your friends, subscribe for more. If you want to know more about crypto market sentiment, go check out the free community here. Follow me on Twitter as well. If you want to keep up to date with the stuff I'm reposting there as well. And equally, if you want to be even more locked in, learning a hell of a lot more through trades, through alpha information, and much more in there as well. Check out the WAP page here. You've got a 7-day free trial. And if you don't like it, you can cancel the membership and join back whenever you're ready. But we've got a lot more coming to that space, a lot more to be providing in there to help capitalize on the markets, to making the most of the opportunities being provided to us right now. Also, the age before the United States. I just want to be. I just don't want to be near you, Mr. Miles. I think if I see you, I might actually just start running away. But with that being said, hope you had a great day, good evening, and good night, and I'll see you all in the next one.